Hi, welcome. Sorry, there was a little glitch there. I apologize. I hope that this doesn't get all glitchy this whole time. Something is definitely going on with the internet connection. Anyhow, so I just wanted to touch base with you guys tonight to continue talking about coping skills, and tonight we're going to focus on anxiety and depression. I have talked about anxiety, I'm guessing I think this was like 6 months ago. We focused on anxiety as a whole for a series. So there is a lot of information. If you go back onto my page and my website, you can click on my blog and you can read about that more in detail. So tonight I'm just going to take a few minutes just to talk briefly about anxiety and depression and how to cope with them. Hi Elaine, welcome. So with anxiety, unfortunately, a lot of people suffer from anxiety, right? I'm sure you've either been anxious yourself or you know someone who is anxious or struggles with worry and just feeling the dread of panic or that constant worry. So with anxiety, there's this false sense of control when you just allow yourself to just think over and over and over again all of the what ifs, or replaying the situation, or going over and over again in your mind of what could be, what you can do, and all the different scenarios. So typically we get anxious when we don't know what could happen or things that we can't control. So we worry about those things. So to cope with that, first you would want to just recognize that your worry is not controlling anything. It doesn't make a difference at all about what the outcome will be of maybe that conversation with a friend or that job interview or what had already happened or the health of yourself, a family member, your children, things of that nature. So if you can acknowledge that it's definitely not helping you control anything and it's just causing you more angst to just worry and perseverate about it, then that can help you at least get to the point where you can say, okay, I need to stop. One thing that can be helpful is people who do need to start slowly on how to control their thought life is to maybe tell yourself, okay, later tonight at 7 o'clock, I'm going to let myself worry and think about this for 15 minutes. And then that's it. And then I'm turning it off. So this allows you to start decreasing the amount of time and energy you're putting into your worry thoughts. Another way to just try and have some control over your thought life is to be able to write it down. Write down your worry thought, write down what you're fearful of, and then leave it there. You know how they say if you have a song stuck in your head to just write it down and it's no longer stuck in your head? Well, the same principle can kind of apply here, that, a lot of times you're ruminating on your worry, your fear, or rehashing what has already happened or thinking about the what ifs. So if you can write it down, then maybe it can start to come out of your head more and you don't stay there and exert so much energy. Also with anxiety is just the panic, right? Is the fear of panic, having a panic attack. And one coping skill for that is that you maybe help yourself understand the difference between the panic and regular bodily sensations. Because the problem with panic is that, you could be working out and you feel your heart racing, you feel yourself get sweaty. It can actually trigger you to feel panicky because it's very similar in almost the exact same symptoms of a panic attack. Where the reverse could be true. This can actually be a coping skill for you to be able to work out, to feel those physical symptoms and understand that it's not panic and that it's okay. And this is a natural reaction to working out and increasing your heart rate. It also can be a stress reliever. Working out can, get rid of a lot of that nervous energy that you have built up within you. So that can be a coping skill as well. Obviously, talking to somebody about it is a huge coping skill. To be able to talk to somebody, help someone give you perspective, because again, and I talked about this a lot in my blogs a few months back, so you can go and reference them to get more detail. But for the purpose of tonight, just to mention the cognitive distortions, all of the irrational ways in which we think and that we spiral our mind into, either the all or nothing thinking, the catastrophizing, the mind reading, the assuming, the whole gamut of all of these things that we can start to do in our mind, and personalizing things or misinterpreting people's nonverbals or what they've said. So again, allowing your mind to go into a very spiraled effect of extreme what ifs or worst case scenarios. So talking with somebody helps you to maybe gain perspective, for someone to help you recognize, like, okay, let's talk about the reality of this. Let's talk about the possibility of this, and to gain some ground in how you're able to grasp back to the reality of the situation. So that's another tactic as well. As I say, you take your thought to court. So you would maybe take your worry thought or whatever it is that's plaguing you and causing anxiety, and then you start to look at the facts of the reality of your thought, your worry thought, for and against it. So it helps you put into perspective, what's the likelihood that your fear thought, your worry, is actually going to happen. And studies have shown that 85% of what we worry about never happens. So think about that. So much time you're wasting thinking and worrying, and 85% of the time it's never going to happen. So learning how to gain perspective, bring it back to reality in realistic terms, and looking at the facts for and against your thought can help you maybe get rid of some of those things that are in the category of 85% of never happening. Also, with anxiety, you just want to think about the fact that how much time of your day are you giving to your thought life? And a huge, huge coping skill that can be helpful is if you have faith, something bigger than you. So God, give it to God, that you cast your cares on Him, that you are going to give it to Him, and that you are able to just focus on something that is greater than you, that has control, and that you can just trust in God to be able to just get you through it and to help you get rid of these thoughts that consume your mind. So praying and recognizing that God is great, and that God is greater than your situation, and that He can help you get through and have victory over it. So that's just kind of an overview for anxiety and coping in those ways. Depression, the thing with depression is that you tend to go inward. When you're depressed, you go inward and you don't feel at all. And if you do feel, it's negative, and those feelings aren't going to do anything to help you be motivated to do something, right?